Welcome back, everyone, to the weekly Armchair Sports Talk. We're here on Devil's Advocate today, or it was we. Keane has just dropped out all of a sudden. We're obviously going to be talking all things Manchester United today, and what is probably the biggest week for the club in recent history, I would say. Keane, how are you getting on?
Brilliant, apart from I just pressed escape there instead of putting myself into the show. Let's hope Man United's defence isn't like that tomorrow. Yeah, look, all good. Delighted to be here. Fucking hell. It's like you said, it's the biggest couple of days in Man United's recent history, especially I think in the last decade. I know people might talk about the previous Carabao Cup final we're in and the Europa League final, and FA Cup final even a couple of years ago, etc. But if you're talking about laying down a marker for future success and really starting a dynasty at Man United again, I really do think these next couple of days are going to be so vital and so pivotal in that. And that's ownership stuff and all that aside. I think this next couple of days feels so big. And look, when you look at the things like Fergie sitting down with Ten Hag yesterday, look at Van Persie being at the training ground, Rio being at the training ground, it feels like something big is happening. It feels like the feeling around the club is coming back, and I feel excited, I feel nervous, I feel there's all different sorts of emotions, and what that is, that's because Man United are on the way back, and I feel it's like something special is happening with this football club again. And yeah, I just feel like I just feel good, I feel excited, but there's so many different things to talk about, really.
Yeah, oh mate, I'm absolutely terrified. We're of course both going to be at the game tomorrow. With our lady partners as well. We're dragging them along too. So that's going to be mega. And I'm with you as well. I'm so excited to be like this time tomorrow, probably getting ready to be in the ground and feel that atmosphere and everything like that. But also so nervous for how it could pan out. I want to quickly ask you, were you impressed? I think it's hard not to be impressed with how Man United played last week. What were your overall feelings after the game last week? Are you confident going into this one based on the new camp?
Yeah, look, I'm confident. I think, look, any time at Old Trafford, we bring a team there, and the way we've been playing at home this season, I'm confident against anybody, and that's including Manchester City, Liverpool, Arsenal, or Bayern Munich, Real Madrid. If you brought any into Old Trafford right now, I'd have confidence. At this moment in time, I really believe in what the manager is doing. I really believe in how we're playing. I really believe in how this team is together right now. And looking at last week's performance at the Nou Camp, not many teams have done that to Barcelona this season. I believe for large parts of that game, we played them off the park. I really do. And the fact that we went there with Weghorst in the number 10 role and played him off the park, that says a lot about Erik ten Hag. It really, really does. And yeah, look, when there's big European nights at Old Trafford, it's a real special place to be. And the fact that it's a real special place and we have quality within our team right now, I really do believe that we can go out there and do a job on them tomorrow.
I hope so. I'm confident the team is good enough. Again, I always come back to which Man United will show up, but I've been pretty happy with the one that we've seen certainly over the last few weeks. And I like as well that sort of over the last 24 hours, the build up to this game and everything's taken over the ownership talk and what's going to happen with that. And tomorrow there might be slight people talking about ownership and think about tomorrow's all going to be about the game and building up to that. And whether it's as you say, it's a European night at Old Trafford. So regardless whether it's Europa League or not, it's going to be absolutely crazy. We've just got to hope that United come out fighting. And yeah, I think we can definitely do them at Old Trafford. But I was pretty stunned watching them last week and actually the confidence they were playing with. And I was like, this is like a team 12 months removed from Ralph Rangnick. Like, it's completely different. It's polar opposite. One player that obviously has come back in the last few weeks for Erik ten Hag is Jadon Sancho. Obviously played really, really well. I personally thought he played really well anyway. On Sunday against Leicester, he's been good the last couple of games as well. Now, he's obviously played a little bit on the right, but more so in that central sort of 10 role and keeping Bruno out on the right, which Bruno is clearly enjoying. Bruno's clearly flourishing in that role. He can work really hard. He can press. He can still get the ball and really affect games. Obviously, Ten Hag said Antony was back training and back fit, and I think we both agree that the balance of Man United's team has looked better this season with Antony on the right whether or not he's got loads of goals and assists or whatever, I think the balance looks better for Man United when Antony's in the team, because he is a natural right winger. Do you think Ten Hag brings Antony straight back in? And if so, do you think he does it for Sancho? Do you think he does it for Weghorst? Do you think that he just sticks with the same team that played, or similar team, certainly the front line that played Sunday, apart from Garnacho?
I think I think Weghorst drops out, but I don't think Antony comes in tomorrow. Look, I know we'll discuss lineups in general. I think we're gonna play with a similar formation that we did against Atletico Madrid last season, except there's going to be a slight little tweak. And hear me out with this. I do think that Bruno Fernandes is going to start on the right tomorrow. And I do think actually Fred is actually going to start. Sabitzer is going to start, and Casemiro is going to play. I do think Fred's actually going to be our highest midfielder out of the three tomorrow, because Sergio Busquets is going to start tomorrow. I do believe that. Obviously with Gavi and Pedri being out. And I think one way we can stop Barcelona tomorrow and really press them and actually win a lot of turnovers is if we play 4-3-3 tomorrow and we play Casemiro, Sabitzer and Fred in midfield, and let Fred literally stick on Sergio Busquets.
Yeah.
That's what I've been thinking about this all week since I knew, they were back in the team. And to answer your question, I know it's a long way of answering it. I think Jadon Sancho will play on the left like he did in the first leg. He was kind of mixing between the left and right, but he drifted out there a lot. So I do think Sancho will play on the left. I do think Fred. I think Weghorst unluckily comes out of the team, but I do. If you're talking about really nullifying Barcelona and also hitting them on the break and really rattling them, I think if we play Sabitzer, Casemiro, and Fred in midfield tomorrow, what you do get out of that is you get a lot of work rate, you get a lot of turnovers. Sabitzer can get on the ball and start spraying it, and Bruno Fernandes can drift in as well and cause havoc in there as well. And you have Jadon and Rashford up there, who I think who will get on the ball. They will create chances. They'll get balls in behind, and there will be a lot of attacking threat. Now, look, you can play Weghorst in there. Now, the only thing I'd say about playing Weghorst tomorrow is if Busquets in there, I don't think Weghorst can press him with the same intensity that Fred can press him with.
I think he can. I think Weghorst's our best presser. And he's tactical about it as well, whereas Fred's slight and gets passed around. I think Weghorst's our best presser.
Really?
Yeah, I just think he knows what he's doing, and he doesn't just press for the sake of pressing. He presses into positions and forces players onto their wrong foot, and he chases balls down. I just think he's a really good, and I know there's loads of stuff going on Twitter that's the only thing he does, and he doesn't score. But it's really important to give United.
It's important for the system. It's really important for the system.
It's something Martial wouldn't do if he was in this team.
Yeah, that is true.
And we had this conversation when Weghorst came in. I thought Weghorst would start because of his work rate. Regardless if Martial was fit.
Yeah, look, I think he's a hard-working player, and you can see what his role is in the system. For me, I just think back to the Manchester derby. I'm just thinking back to when Fred actually played that high, and Fred played on Kevin De Bruyne, and sat on him, and he don't fuck all for 90 minutes. I can swear because it's my own channel.
It's your channel, yeah.
My channel. I can swear, and look, if anyone gets the heat, it's me. I'm the one who gets the email off YouTube for profanity. So that's fine. But I just look at the way we played in the derby. I look how we played that midfield, and I look how Fred was really instrumental in sitting on De Bruyne. And I do think, behind him, Fred would have the license to sit on Sergio Busquets tomorrow, because you look at Sabitzer, very defensively sound. He's good on the ball. I don't want Fred anywhere near receiving the ball off the back four.
No.
Especially with how Barcelona can get us in transition, especially if Ansu Fati's on the left tomorrow. So that's where I look at if he can have that role in midfield where he can be the presser in midfield, he can literally get on Busquets, and then I think Sabitzer can really outstrength Frankie De Jong in midfield. From a physical standpoint, I do think he can get at him. Casemiro, look,
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter who's in midfield against him. I think he has the beating of anyone. And I do think what that midfield gives us is that our front three to be fluid. It allows our front three to really be high up the pitch and do damage. Because in that midfield three, what you have is you have a lot of defensive stability, you have work rate, and I even say Fred's decent on the ball, but not when it's back when he's
No,
receiving.
he doesn't do anything quickly. And if he's got
Higher
time,
up
he's
the
okay.
pitch, he's actually okay though. Don't
Yeah.
give it out to the left, out to the right, and that's what I'm saying. If he can beat that, not almost like a free roll tomorrow, but he can be that midfielder to kind of break up play almost and like just be everywhere. But Evan says that leak instructions for Fred tomorrow: break the ball or his legs and clear it. It's not even that though. If anyone who's watched Fred this season, he's been very good in transition. He's been one of our best players in counter-attacking situations this season, and that's why I think he should be that player tomorrow to go in and cause a lot of disruption. Like if you look at the second leg at the New Camp, he covered every single blade of grass in that game. Like he literally did. Now there was a few ropey bits, but you always get that with Fred. Always get that with Fred. But in that second half, he was superb. He was top notch. And this the thing about him. I said this to you on the first Derby preview before the 6-3. I said this to you, and I'll always stand by this. Shane Dowdy hammered me for it before the Derby. I remember him hammering me in our group chat, and I said, in the bigger games, we don't play Ericsson. We play Fred Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes in midfield. Now, obviously, Sabitza's in the equation now. But in this particular game, I do think Fred should be that man to get at Busquets. Because I think, as great of a passer he is on the ball, I do think he could be actually their weakest link in midfield tomorrow. Because A, he's back from injury. B, his mobility is shot. And C, in a game like this, in hostile atmosphere like this, we've seen how he coped in Anfield when he had like, I hate to fucking say it, but like Jordan Henderson and James Milner pressing him in midfield. Now this, like, with all due respect to him, Fred is a better presser than them, and Fred has more technical ability than them two midfielders. Now I'm gonna have scousers coming at me for that.
Yeah, Fred's a better footballer than Jordan Henderson. Like he just is. He just is.
Yeah, but that's where I think he's actually going to be one of our most vital players tomorrow. Because if we're going to hit him, if we're going to try to hit them from the start, if we're going to need to be physical, if we're going to need to be, if we're going to have to rile up the crowd early on, he's going to be one of them players to really get on top of that midfield. And I really look at Sergio Busquets, and Sergio Sugar Biscuits, I just look at him tomorrow, and I think we can really exploit him. I really do.
I don't know. Like I've got so many times watching Busquets thinking like, yeah, it's fine. The other team will, and then he just plays these games that defies age and defies sort of what people think of him. And I don't want to write off. I've got horrible feelings of writing any sort of player off and saying
I'm not even writing him off, Greg.
No, I know. I get what you mean. Like you can definitely get at him. I think our energy, and I think it's important quickly to press him and not allow him time on the ball. So maybe it is a good idea to play Fred. I just don't know. Obviously, we'll come to start 11 and things like that. In a bit, I also don't know what he'll do. In terms of that, what I do want to ask you though, do you think? Obviously, we've got the massive game on Sunday as well. Do you think this game tomorrow sets the tone basically for Sunday? Do you think if we go out there and something horrible happens and we get beat tomorrow night, do you think that completely knocks all confidence and it really puts us on the back foot for Sunday? Whereas obviously if we go out tomorrow night and we win and we play well, do you think we'll be on a high going into Sunday? What would be your thoughts on that? Because I think based on performance, you can effectively lose Sunday's game tomorrow night.
You could. It just depends on the nature of tomorrow's game. Like, let's say we go out tomorrow and we get beaten extra time or penalties, right? Let's say, for all intents and purposes, that happens. A, we're drained for Sunday. B, the dressing room, like, mentality-wise, could be down. But I think regardless of what happens, Erik ten Hag is such a good manager that I don't think he will allow the players to feel either down the dumps or even be too confident. Do you know what I mean? I think he has this dressing room in the palm of his hand where he can control the feel in this dressing room. He's a brilliant coach, brilliant tactician, but he's also a brilliant man manager. And I do think he has great people in there around him, like Steve McLaren in there, like Benny McCarthy in there. Where it's night and day, Greg, what we were seeing this season compared to the last 6 years, right?
Yeah,
it's
crazy.
Night and day. Like, it's night and day.
I like this team for one thing. I didn't like the previous. I don't think I've liked. I think there's been spells every season in the last 6 years that I've not liked the United team, like the players we've had, and mainly probably due to a couple of certain players like Pogba even before that, like Chris Smalling and stuff like that started games for us consistently. Like I think,
Greg, I went to the FA Cup final in 2018 with Smalling and Jones starting centre half. I was behind the goal and I watched Jones pull Hazard down. Literally, it was like, let's say I'm sitting here, it's
slow
like
motion,
like
just saw it in slow motion. Like no,
like I seen it. Like it was literally only like I'd say a good 20 yards away from me. I was away from that situation. My God, this how far we've come that we don't have to rely on the unreliables like Paul Pogba, like the Chris Smallings. I'm not going to say Jesse Lingard in this situation because he's delivered in big games for us. He's won us finals.
Yeah.
I was at a final that he scored a goal in. Obviously, look, it's a pity how he's left, but like I think mentality-wise in this dressing room, Greg, we've a lot of winners now. We've a lot of winners in the dressing room. Your Casemiros, your Rafael Varans. Like even
that was going to be my next one. Do you think the players are up for that? Was going to be my next question before we moved on to battles and things. Do you think the players are up for it, or do you think they've got the bottle? Because there's players in here that played in that Europa League final against Villarreal, and I know it's obviously not a final, but it's a massive stage, and this is probably the biggest game for someone like a Rashford since that day. Biggest game for De Gea since then. Obviously, Sunday will eclipse that, but since that this is probably the biggest game that they've had. Have they got it in them?
They do. Look, Rashford's done it in all the big games this season.
Yeah.
All the big games he's played this season, he scored goals. He'll be up for. He's a different man now. I think David De Gea, look, quality goalkeeper from a shot stopping point of view. Look, you know my feelings about the distribution side of things, but he has in the big games. He has delivered. He has. Lisandro Martinez, look, he's back in the team tomorrow. He's a warrior. We need that warrior spirit out there tomorrow. And like Sean asks a question here, like how much will stadium atmosphere and fans impact the game tomorrow? Well, hopefully it's not a library like Anfield was last night because all they were singing is "Allez, allez, allez" and "You Never Walk Alone" for about 10 minutes, and then like stadium atmosphere is flat as fuck.
Yeah, let's hope there's a bit of substance to the just like, because that seems to be all Liverpool rely on. So we've got the atmosphere and it's Champions League and it's like Anfield, and I was like, okay, but on the pitch, you actually any good? Like, let's hope that. I think the fans are going to be so up for it tomorrow night. Like that place will be bouncing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think they'll be cheering. I think that they'll be on Barcelona from the minute one with the fans behind them, and it might push them over that little extra bit. If we get an early goal, that place will erupt.
Yeah, and like the TRA have a lot planned for tomorrow. Well, I know, and not just in the TRA section. There's actually a lot of them being sectioned in different areas of the ground tomorrow. So look, the atmosphere in Old Trafford is going to be great. And like, look, at the end of the day, I've been at big games this season. I was at the Derby, and the atmosphere that day, like the fans really were like, I know the proverbial 12th man. The fans were literally the 12th man that day. Like Old Trafford is falling apart, right? I thought Old Trafford was going to fucking collapse when we scored that. Honestly, I thought Old Trafford was going to fucking collapse there and then when Rashford scored that second goal. The atmosphere was unbelievable. My voice was gone coming home. Like honestly, I think the fans can play a big part tomorrow. Stadium atmosphere. We've seen Barcelona. Look, I know I slagged off Anfield right there a few minutes ago, right? But we've seen when Liverpool scored an early goal on them and the atmosphere, we've seen them crumble. Yeah. They've crumbled in this situation before. They crumbled in the Europa League last season. You know, they've crumbled in the Champions League. Like, if it's not going their way, I don't think there's certain players in that team who I don't think have the personality to keep going. You know, let's say if they go 1 or 2 down, I don't think there's players in there that have the personality to come out.
Don't name them because they'll have a blinder.
I'm not going to
don't single them out.
I'm not going to be Reece Russell here. I'm not going to turn around and name him. But what I will say is, look, there's been evidence in the past in big games. If you get on them early, it can happen. Like it can happen. But look again. They do have a lot of quality in that team. Let's not mess about here. Like we have to be on it tomorrow.
As well. A lot of experience of winning things.
Yeah, like you have the likes of Lewandowski and there, Frankie De Jong. You know, Rafinha's in there tomorrow. He's a good player, former Leeds player as well. He's going to get some reception tomorrow. Jordi Alba, you know, Ter Stegen. Like, look, there is good Lewandowski. I mentioned him. Like, there's good professionals in there. Like, there's really good professionals in there. But at the same time, We've Casemiro and we've 5-time Champions League winner, we've 4-time Champions League winner Rafael Varane. You've David De Gea there, who was here for Prime United, Sir Alex Ferguson's Manchester United. So we've Lisandro Martinez. We've
got the most informed player in the world right now.
We've the most informed player in the world, and dare I say, probably right now the best player in the Premier League in our team right now.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Oh, he is. Yeah, I'm form.
No, he is on form. He is right now, and people can come at me. Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland has been absolutely shit since the World Cup. Yeah, he's picked up a couple of goals, but he's actually to City's detriment. Like United without Rashford.
I'm not. He's not to City's detriment. City to their own detriment because they don't play to him. Like the runs that he makes, he would score. He would comfortably.
I'm telling you, City would be a lot better if they played a false nine with Phil Foden up front like they did last season.
Yeah, but that's just because how they play. The whole point. I don't think you can blame Haaland. Like when Haaland, I know we're off topic, but Haaland's come in and he's come into a team, and Pep wants the team to play into Haaland. Like that's the way they're going to win games. Is let's make sure this guy can score 40 goals in the season, which he's perfectly capable of doing. But to do it, the only person that hits balls in behind to his strength is De Bruyne. Whereas next season, once they've had a year to work with it, and you've got people like Jack Grealish having the balls to kick it forward, Foden, Mahrez, whoever they get, if they do get Bellingham, like that, they will come back even stronger next year. I don't think it's to Haaland's detriment. I don't think Haaland makes them worse. I think the fact that the players are refusing to adapt makes City worse, because I think you could drop Haaland into any team, and as long as the players are willing to play those balls in behind and risk losing possession for the chance to score a goal, which is one thing City need to move away from, because in a Pep side, like all about possession. Keep possession, keep possession, keep possession. Eventually you'll break them down, you'll score. When you're playing with Haaland, you need to risk losing possession to play that ball in behind. And that's what City need to do.
Haaland, I'll tell you now, I know this is way off topic, right? But Haaland would be a lot more suited to this United team than that City team.
Yeah.
He would be. I'm telling you now. Erling Haaland would like, imagine him thriving off Bruno Fernandes' creativity. I know De Bruyne is creative, right? So is Bruno Fernandes. So is Jadon Sancho. The players, and we've seen the relationship him and Sancho had at Dortmund. Look, fuck Erling Haaland anyway. Look, he done fuck all the anyway, we're digressing.
Yeah, absolutely. I do want to ask, obviously we spoke about this last time. I think it was before the Leeds game, but I think it's a really interesting way to sort of look at it. Obviously, there's going to be areas where games are won and lost tomorrow night. So, and I'm going to say, apart from Marcus Rashford, because that's a cop-out answer. Marcus Rashford against Jules Koundé, Rashford's got to win that battle, hopefully. And if he does, we've got a very good chance of winning it, because Rashford's playing at a level right now that if he's winning his individual battles, as long as we can get him the ball, we've got a very good chance of scoring goals. So apart from Rashford, where do you think this game, individual one-on-one players, not areas of the pitch, but where do you think this game could be won or lost?
I mentioned one earlier. I think Fred on Busquets could do him.
Yeah.
I think that could be something where we could, especially in transition on the counter attack. I think that's an area you can win the game. I also think as well, like, if Anthony plays,
he's got to pin back Alba.
He'll pin Alba back. And if Bruno drifts into the middle, Bruno could maybe potentially win us the game there. I think Lisandro Martinez against Robert Lewandowski tomorrow could be the one where, because we've seen it, like, to a certain degree, right? Luke Shaw did neutralize him to a certain degree last week. So did Varane. But I feel like he did a good job. But I feel like with Lisandro Martinez there, he's better positionally than Luke Shaw at centre back. Yeah. Like, Luke Shaw is very good at reading the game, but I think Martinez reads it that bit better. I agree. And look, I think Martinez distribution from the back, I think Lewandowski does press, but he's not like an avid presser. So if Martinez can get out read the game, get the ball out from the back, Luke Shaw actually at left back could win us the game tomorrow, I think. Because let's say Rashford stays out left, right, for all intents and purposes. Let's say he ends up out on the left, or Sancho occupies Araujo or Koundé in that little channel, right?
Yeah.
Luke Shaw tomorrow on them overlaps, providing early crossings to Rashford or into Bruno, that could win us the game. It just depends, like, because the thing about this, I actually think
Rafinha as well.
Yeah,
Rafinha would be a shock, and Rafinha had a field day last week
against Valencia. Yeah,
He loved it. So Shaw's got to make sure that Rafinha doesn't have as easy a game.
Shaw did do him at the Leeds game last season. Now, albeit, look, that's Marcelo Bielsa team that kind of more or less bent over for everyone last season. You know, it depends because, again, Greg, the thing about this is we can talk about individual battles, but at this moment in time, if we be really honest about this, we don't know what Ten Hag's going to do tomorrow. We can predict I'll be honest, right? We can probably predict from goalkeeper to Casemiro tomorrow, right? Yeah. Rashford, look.
Yeah, Rashford plays. Yeah, where he plays is different, but he plays.
Where he plays is different, right? But there's certain positions up in the air tomorrow because Anthony's back. I'm going to say it. McTominay is back. Do you know,
Sancho's back.
Sancho is back. You know, like there's so many different combinations Erik ten Hag can play tomorrow. And the thing about him is like he's used this kind of Weghorst in the number 10 in these games. Will he do it at home to Barcelona though? That's the thing for me. Does he do it at home to Barcelona?
He trusts. One thing Ten Hag has done is trust his own process. And what's working right now is Weghorst playing, pressing, give us an extra body, dropping back in the midfield. And I think he won't go away from that because I think Ten Hag would rather lose doing something that he always does and playing his style.
Do you think
trying to go tit for tat?
Play Sabitzer tomorrow?
I don't think he plays Sabitzer.
And I don't know because I look at how how good he is in transition, how good he actually is winning the ball. Shout out to Leicester Fan TV, by the way, or whatever their name is. Leicester Till I Die TV. Sorry, Leicester Till I Die. I nearly gave him Fan TV, like Arsenal Fan TV. But shout out to Leicester Till I Die because he's still going on about.
He's raging. He's absolutely fuming.
But yeah, like I think like the thing about it is Sabitzer is so good on the ball and he's good at opening teams up and he's good at making that kind of. I'm not good. Look now. Before people say I'm comparing him to Michael Carrick, right? I'm not fully comparing him to Michael Carrick.
Yeah, it's a type.
But you know the way Sabitzer makes that kind of line breaking pass, that switch to kind of open us up. He reminds me of Michael Carrick slightly in that way. You know, because Carrick the way he plays. Yeah, you know, there's a bit of it like Joe likeness. Now, Carrick was one of the best DMs in the world. I'll say this right now. Michael Carrick never ever got the credit for how good he was.
No.
Because we have Paul Scholes. That's the simple reason why we had
Paul Scholes in the world. You're going to struggle to get credit, I suppose, playing alongside him.
But ask Paul Scholes. Michael Carrick, like he'd always say, Michael Carrick was one of the best players he ever played with.
Yeah.
But I know I'm digressing there, but the way Sabitzer makes that line breaking pass, the way Sabitzer makes that switch of play in an instant, he kind of can play that Carrick role, you know. But the thing about it is, I just don't know how Ten Hag does it because like that my line of thinking all week has been Weghorst don't play in this game. Fred will sit on Busquets. Now, Weghorst could probably do that with a bit more physicality. He actually could bully Busquets. You know, it's
it's hard, isn't it?
Situation.
Yeah, I'm going to look at a couple of comments. So, Billy, I know you missed the start of the show, but we talked about this right at the start. I asked Keane this. Keane person, do you think Bruno will start on the right, Anthony won't start tomorrow, and it'll be Sancho as well? Yeah? No? Sancho on the left, Rashford for the middle.
Rashford up top.
Yeah,
I think he needs to play up top tomorrow. I said this. I done Barcelona preview here on my own last week. And I said in the show, and people who watch it, most of the people who actually watch the show are in the comments now.
Yeah.
I said in these big games, you need to play Rashford up top because when we win that ball in transition, his pace against these high lines, teams are fucking.
I just prefer him off the left. I always will.
So do I.
That's fair.
But in these games, we're not going to have too much of the ball. Marcus Rashford up top.
I kind of agree with this, Richard, but I'm not bothered for sentiment or anything like that. If the game needs to be, if it's shut up shop with half an hour to go, 25 minutes to go, I'm not bothered about bringing Garnacho on at all. It'd be nice to see him. It'd be nice to be in a position to be able to bring him on because I think right now he is used a little bit as a luxury player and something else attacking to go forward if you're trying to win a game or push for that extra goal. But if United are on top, I'm not bothered about seeing Garnacho come on because it'd be good for him. I'd assume you're the same, Keane. You'd much rather just get the job done than bother about
look, I'd rather get the job done. Now, to be fair, Ten Hag could really throw a spanner in the works and play him off the left.
So Keane's internet is going, but I don't know if anyone else can hear it. I'm sure he'll come back.
Am I back?
But yeah. Oh, are you still there?
Yeah, I was gone there. Am I back now?
Yeah, you seem back now. We're all good.
Oh, good. What were you saying there? Sorry.
I was just agreeing. Richard was like, if we need goals, like, yeah, absolutely. If we need goals, then maybe, then yeah, bring them on. Why not? But I'm not bothered in pre-planning changes until I know sort of what the game's. I think the game's too big to be being like, oh, it'd be really nice to bring him on for half an hour to give him a run. Like, I'm not bothered massively. But yeah, if we need goals, it's a good option.
The way I look at it is, Greg,
direct.
Ten Hag is such a, like, he's a madman sometimes. You never know what he's thinking. He could think, right, Garnacho can beat a man. Garnacho can win a foul. Garnacho can win a penalty. You know.
Lindelof in the 6. Fred up to play as a 10.
Off.
I'm on about subs. Like, Lindelof can go into the 6. Fred can go and play as like another advanced 10. Get the ball forward early. Lindelof's got the passing range to hit the wingers. Like, there's options. There is options. I think I do agree with you though. Going back to that, I think Luke Shaw's going to have such an important part to play. I don't think he has. I think he has to stop Rafinha getting into the game, because I think Rafinha last week got a few good touches early on. He got inside, managed to cut inside Malacia a couple of times, got a good couple passes away, and was obviously able to get a few shots away and score eventually. Had a really, really good game. I think Shaw has to straight away basically has to let Rafinha know that he's in a game. Not saying kick him or anything, but just let him know he's in a game, make him turn his back to goal, because Rafinha seemed to have the freedom of the Nou Camp last week, and he was just able to run at Rafinha. He never really had his back to goal, didn't really have to check his run or anything like that. So if you can make him do that, then I suppose it would be better. Yeah, I think you're right, Billy. I think Shaw will start left back tomorrow. I don't think he'll start centre back. I think the only reason he started centre back last week is because Lisandro Martinez was of course missing. He was suspended, so that would be the only reason that he played. I think that was the only reason. I think that's why Shaw started playing centre back earlier on in the season as well. Once he knew Martinez wasn't going to be fit. As soon as he knew he wasn't going to be fit, he was like, okay, well, I need to start planning for that. So let's try someone like Luke Shaw in at centre back, and then sort of guide him into that to make sure his first game wasn't Barcelona at the Nou Camp. I hope so, Richard. I hope we'll still be in the tie with half an hour to go. I'd love to be 3-0 up with half an hour to go, if I'm completely honest, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure what happened. He's not good enough. Yeah, I sort of agree with that. I think he's got a really good passing range. For this, whether he's I don't know if he reads the game well enough to play in the 6.
I don't think he's mobile enough either, or strong enough to play in the 6.
I don't know if you have to be mobile, like massively mobile. You're picking up the ball from the defender and then passing it. I don't think he reads the game well enough in transition.
I don't think he's strong enough in midfield. I don't think, like, personally, I don't think he's strong enough. You know, like, Lindelof has had a tendency to be bullied, when he's at centre half. Now,
yeah,
in midfield, when you're coming up against a team that presses and tackles hard, for me, yeah, don't worry, I'll be well wrapped up tomorrow, Richard. It's freezing in Ireland, so I can only imagine how bad it is in a.
Yeah, it just basically permanently rains in Manchester as well right now, so like it's probably going to be soaking wet as well.
Yeah.
Also, same Fergie would never have bought Lindelof. Yeah, he absolutely would have, because Fergie bought Phil Jones.
Phil Jones was good before he got the injuries.
He was good. He wasn't. I'd say Lindelof's a better footballer than Jones ever has been.
He was Jones in the England under-21 team, weren't he? Him and Smalling. Yeah. People were saying he was going to. No, Billy, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Heartbreak.
I was trying to forget about that. Thanks.
No.
Look at yeah. I'm not going to talk about Phil Jones now, because the poor man is just injury prone, and
he's had a rough time of it, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I think if he could go back and do it again, he would do it again, do it differently. But he's had a rough time of it. And in an alternate universe, he plays 300 games for Man United, but we're not there, I suppose. Yeah, Keane didn't get final, unfortunately not. But you got Barca tickets, so that's fine. We're gonna have a good day tomorrow. Got an early flight to Scotland. Yeah, you get to meet me early in the morning tomorrow. Great fun. Great fun.
The train down from Edinburgh, then we're going drinking on the plane. So if anyone is Scottish and watching this and going from Edinburgh, and you hear some people singing songs about the Glazers on the train tomorrow, that'll be me and Greg.
100%.
Yeah,
100%. So let's go on a little bit then. Let's go and talk about. Actually, I want to ask you quickly about obviously Xavi and things. Xavi said last week about Ten Hag that Man United were on their way back, and he really liked Ten Hag and really thought he was special. Do you think that? I don't know how to word it. Do you think that Ten Hag sort of looks at this as obviously, because a lot of people saying that he was at Ajax and it's pretty easy to win games in the Eredivisie and things like that. Do you think Ten Hag sees this as a challenge upon himself, or do you think he's not that self-centered and is all about the team have to win it? It doesn't really matter. But do you think he sees this as a chance to prove himself as well, like to knock off Barcelona?
Oh, definitely. Like, look, it'll be in the back of his mind. It'll be in the back of his mind to obviously go out and get the win and really lay down a marker that he's here to stay and he's here for the long haul. But look, I think he knows it's all about the team. He's not like put it this way. Jose Mourinho was a great manager, but he was all about himself, right? Let's get that straight. Jose Mourinho was all about himself. We had Ollie, who was actually a good manager, but he was all about the players. He was actually never about himself. And yeah, look, we see how that went for him. Ralph Rangnick,
balance, I think.
What?
You need a balance, don't you? You need someone that's
Ralph Rangnick just wanted to go around talking shit about everyone. And then you had Louis van Gaal, who was a dictator. We have the perfect balance in Erik Ten Hag, where he's a good man manager, also very strict, also tactically astute, and he's bald as well. Like literally,
bald is best. I've already told Danny that if United win the League Cup on Sunday, when I go to Benidorm in April, I'm getting bald as best tattooed on me.
Fact.
So. That's a great idea.
But what I will say is Erik Ten Hag, like he doesn't accept shit like dropping the standards, right? He doesn't accept that.
We'll answer that in a minute. It's fine. Stick with your thought and we can go to that in a minute.
Yeah.
Just put it up so you can reformat your.
Yeah, like look, I think with him, he doesn't. There's no. Every game's important. Like every game with Erik Ten Hag. Like, look, for God's sake, he took Charlton. Like, no disrespect. I'm home hands up now and say, like, it's no disrespect to Charlton Athletic or Reading or any of these teams we played recently. Burnley. He's taken every single game seriously. He wants to win every single game. Like, I remember, funny enough, we drew against Crystal Palace in pre-season on my birthday. Thanks, David De Gea. And I remember that game, Erik Ten Hag was raging after a pre-season draw. You know, that's how much like a winner he is. That's how much of a I'd say he is a sore loser in the dressing room. I'd say he's very pissed off when he loses a game of chess, never win a game of football. You know what I mean? He seems like one of them type of characters. And for me, I just don't think Erik Ten Hag will leave these players drop standards. If we go out and win tomorrow, great. Okay, grand. You've beat Barcelona. Back in training tomorrow, you're running. Back in training, you're running. Simple as.
Yeah. No, that's fair. And Billy obviously asks here, is it horrendous if we go out tomorrow but win Sunday and then can concentrate on the league and FA Cup without playing Thursday, Saturdays? Yes. Yes, it is. I think this has to be a must. I think United need to stay in as many competitions for as long as possible. We are think about it, like we're in a position in the league that I don't think any United fan thought we were going to be in. We're playing better football than earlier on in this Ten Hag tenure than I think anyone probably thought was going to happen.
We're playing better football in this Ten Hag tenure than we have under any manager since Fergie.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. And look how quickly he's changed sort of the whole feeling around the club, the feeling with the fans. There's obviously off the pitch stuff that's getting further and further past the point that we've never seen before as well. I think, and we spoke about it a little bit earlier on, Billy, I think lose tomorrow and you potentially lose Sunday anyway. But if you were to offer me the chance to go out tomorrow and win, no, I would much rather just take the chance to try and win both, because I think United are in this point where the team winning produces winning cultures produce winning. Losing games is never good. You don't want to lose games. You want to stay in as many competitions for as long as possible. If United, if it costs us maybe to go from third to fourth, it's not ideal. But if you're with fourth and a couple of trophies, or third and one trophy, like I would much rather take the hit to finish 1 week position down, because I predicted we'd finish sixth. Like I wasn't convinced we'd get we get top four.
I said at the start of the season we'd finish 6th, but we'd win the Europa League. That's what I said at the start of the season, right? And as Richard quoted Sir Alex, success breeds success. It does. Do you remember the last rebuild Fergie had in 2006?
Yeah.
Remember he got rid of he's phasing out Van Nistelrooy. Roy Keane just left. He brought in the likes, obviously, he introduced like Darren Fletcher and that a couple of years later, John O'Shea, players like that. And then he built a team around Rooney and Ronaldo, remember? What was the first trophy? I think it's Eric Ten Hag there. What was the first trophy Fergie won in that rebuild? The League Cup. League Cup against Wigan. Like, honestly, we need to win as many trophies as we can early on, because there's a lot of players in that dressing room that haven't won trophies for United. Right, granted, there's a few of them who have won trophies elsewhere, but there's a lot of players in that dressing room who haven't won trophies in United. Bruno hasn't won a trophy in United. You know, Diogo Dalot hasn't won a trophy at United. Wan-Bissaka hasn't won a trophy at United. Dare I say, Lindelof, Harry Maguire, players like that in dressing room haven't won, right? No, I'm mentioning fringe players, because Rashford's won plenty of trophies at the club. You know, Anthony hasn't won anything because he's only here.
Sancho's not.
Sancho hasn't. Like, really and truly, right now, we have a chance to get these players to create not only a winning mentality, but a hungry one as well. Like, that first bit of silverware could I suppose, create a ripple effect for like the rest of this season.
Yeah.
No. Like,
I think if you ask any top manager in the world, do you want to be in all? Would you rather be in all competitions till the very end? They would say yes. Like, you just want to be in all the good competitions. And to be honest, I want to watch Man United play in as many competitions as possible. Like, the squad's good enough to make it's good enough to win on Sunday. It's good enough to make a run in the Europa League. It's good enough to win an FA Cup, and it's good enough to finish in the top 4. It's good enough to do all of those things, and we're not.
Good enough to do all that, but if you're a cup season ticket holder, don't bank on getting a cup final ticket.
But as I don't think United are in a point over the last decade that we can fob off trophies for other things. We're not at that point. We're not, dare I say, Man City right now, who can throw their eggs into the Champions League basket, or don't have to care about X Cup. That's not where United are right now. Like, it's been so long since we've had sustained success and won trophies and had a team that people actually worry about playing against. And Old Trafford feel like a fortress. Like, under Ollie, Old Trafford felt like we're going to get done every week.
Yeah.
But it was just horrific. And like, everything is good around the club. So I think it has to be, we're not in a position to turn our nose up at anything, at any trophy. I will celebrate. If we win on Sunday, I'll celebrate that just as hard as I would if we win the Europa League in May, if we win the FA Cup. Like, it doesn't matter. It's a massive thing for this United team to get over that hump and to get over that mental block as well, that things are different now. And I think that all starts tomorrow with imagine we knock out Barcelona in the first round of the Europa League. Like, we're going to think we can beat anyone. We're suddenly suddenly the favourites for the whole tournament, or one off.
I put 20 quid in us at 8-1, by the way.
It's not bad.
If that wins, that'll be a nice.
That'll be all right. Yeah, nice. But it's just I don't think United are in a position to turn their nose up at any trophies. So
we're not. And think about this: you said it rightly, Greg. Right? To know if we beat Barcelona tomorrow, who's left? Arsenal, Juve,
Atletico Madrid.
Atletico Madrid aren't in it.
Yeah, they are. They're not dropped down. Yeah,
they not come last. No,
I don't think so. Someone will check it for us, I'm sure.
I'm going to check this because I remember saying I don't want Atletico Madrid to drop into Europa League.
I thought they did. Maybe they didn't.
Hold on, I'm going to check the Champions League groups right now.
I think you're right.
They finished on head-to-head. They finished last in their group.
Finished last, yeah. Sorry. So
so
there's like Sevilla.
I think we do them now. I really do. Like, I look at the teams who dropped out from the Champions League, right? I can tell you right now, Shakhtar Donetsk, we do them. Sevilla, under this manager, we do them. Under Ollie, not a chance. We seen that. Under Mourinho as well. Juventus, shit.
Don't say that, because fucking Paul, that'll be the one game Pogba plays all season.
Pogba's not going to. No, he won't. And even that Casemiro will pocket him anyway. He'll fucking break a nail and he won't play. Anyway,
We're definitely favourite. Like I would probably say us and Arsenal would be the
Us and Arsenal. Look, let us play Arsenal with Casemiro and a full team. Let us play Arsenal. We only lost 3-2 at the Emirates with McTominay playing in midfield.
Yeah.
And Arsenal aren't playing the best at the top of the league, granted, but if you actually look at Arsenal in the last couple of weeks, since that
last couple of weeks have been poor, but for the first half of the season, well, not first half, but nearly the first half of the season, they were the best team in the league.
If a player in midfield who shouldn't be playing right now and he's getting all the plaudits, which I find absolutely disgusting at the minute, like Martinelli, I think is overrated. I think he's overrated, and I think he's good, but like the way Arsenal fans are talking about him, like he's
comparing him to Rashford, and
comparing to Rashford, and like, look, stay in your lane. You should be comparing him to Garnacho, not Rashford at the moment. Like, honestly, and that's not on Garnacho. When you actually look at both players statistically, like, you know, that's what
it's closer.
The pedestal should be there. But yeah, like, look, we're talking way ahead. Like, we might get knocked out tomorrow, and this isn't even the conversation.
I'm
saying, like, if we do get through tomorrow, I think we beat anybody in this competition. Absolutely anybody.
Yeah. No, I agree. And like I say, I don't think United are in a position to turn their nose up at anything. So let's move on a bit then. We've obviously spoke a little bit about starting 11 predictions. Now, are we pretty set on what the back four and goalkeeper is going to be? It's going to be De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, or Dalot? Sorry,
De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, because I think Fatty will play tomorrow. He needs to play. I think Wan-Bissaka is pivotal. I've seen how defensively suspect Dalot has been the last couple of games, and I actually think it's down to his match sharpness rather than actually his quality, because he showed both sides of his game this season. So I think, like, look, tomorrow's not the game to start Diogo Dalot. I think Wan-Bissaka needs to play tomorrow. Look, he just needs to switch on when them balls come across him. He just needs to switch on when that happens.
Varane, Lissandro, Shaw.
Yeah, Varane, Martinez, Shaw. Casemiro.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Sabitzer, Fred, with Casemiro on midfield. I'm going to go Bruno on the right, Rashford up top, and Jadon Sancho on the left. I just think now, again, I do think it's a case of, does he play Sabitzer or Weghorst in the midfield? Personally, for me, I'd like to see Fred playing the role Weghorst will be playing in. And just in terms of pressing Sergio Busquets, I do think, I think that could be a way to win the game. And yeah, look, that front three is just fluid. Like, and even like, look, at the end of the day, yes, there's that concern if you play Bruno on the right. He might drift infield, and Jordi Alba can get that bit of space. But there is a concern with that. There's a genuine concern. But if you do play Casemiro and Sabitzer in there, we have a bit of defensive cover that. If Bruno does go one, Joe, just go into like Cloud Cuckoo land and decides to go on a bit of a mad one, you have a bit of defensive stability in that midfield. You have a hard work in midfield. And funnily enough, it's mad. I gave Liverpool so much abuse having quote-unquote workhorses in midfield, passion merchants, or whatever you want to call them. But I think our midfield has a bit more like technical prowess in there.
I think it probably does. I think the only change I'd make is I think Weghorst will start ahead of Sabitzer. I just think he won't go away from it, and I think he would rather it not be right after an hour. Because I just think he gives us so much. Like, he'll press Busquets out his skin. Like, Busquets won't get a minute on the ball. It'll be one touch, go. Like, I know Busquets is obviously good enough to play with one touch, but if they're playing it from the back, I think Weghorst's a really good option. I think he links play really well as well.
The thing about it is, Greg, if they play Busquets in there, Kessie has to play that bit higher, which he doesn't really do that much. Frankie de Jong can do it, and he's a good ball carrier. Kessie will be out of Waters as well, so that's why, like, I think we really need to disrupt that midfield, because the balance in that midfield three tomorrow won't be as what it usually is. Because without Pedri in there, it's a different type of team.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And I think, I don't know, obviously that front three pretty much rotates anyway. Like, Rashford very rarely just sticks through the middle. Like, he can end up sort of on the right and he can end up sort of on the left as well. So I don't have a massive issue with Rashford starting through the middle, because I think Weghorst plays as the 10. He doesn't play sort of through the middle as a genuine.
He just needs to score a goal, man. He just needs to score a goal. Honestly,
he should have scored last week. Oh my god!
Scored last week in Dale Camp. He should have scored there. It was there Sunday. I swear to God. I love his application. I love his work.
He doesn't. No, he doesn't. Stop looking at goals and assists and watch games.
Yeah. Well, me and Trevor had this debate last week.
He is he does a very important job for this United team. He runs harder and further than anyone else on the pitch. He puts in an absolute shift.
Probably Bruno, probably.
Yeah. He puts in an absolute shift every week. He can pick up the ball in difficult areas. He's just missing that goal scoring touch. And if he'd scored the 2 or 3 extra chances that he's had, we'd all be sat here going, "Oh, he's been great." He's just had a little bit. He's just been a little bit off it in terms of shooting, in terms of his finishing. But he brings so much to that team, and he's another. He's massive. Imagine if you're someone like Kessie or Busquets, and suddenly you no, he doesn't. If you're someone like Kessie or Busquets, and suddenly you've got to try and play out or try and break the lines, and rather than having someone slight like maybe Sabitzer or Fred there in front of you, you've got 6'6" Wout Weghorst who's pressing you, going down, like pressing you down, trying to force you out wide. I just think he brings so much to this United team, and he definitely doesn't run around like a headless chicken. He's definitely our best system presser, and I think if you were to take him out this United side, you would notice a massive difference in terms of work rate and in terms of effort and in terms of energy and the amount of time that the midfield gets on the ball. Like, how many times do Man United pick up the ball because a centre-back or a right-back or someone like that has tried to play a ball straight through the midfield and it's picked up by Fred or Casemiro or someone like that because it's been pressed by people like Weghorst or people like Bruno. Like, I just think he's so important for what this team needs, especially when you have people like Rashford who maybe doesn't press as much as you want, and same with Sancho, whose pressing maybe isn't at the same sort of levels that you want. I think he does the job for two people. Like, I think he's so important.
Yeah, he is. Like, look, ideally, let's be frank about this. Like, he's not going to be a first team player next season. Let's say it for all harm's sake, right? For all harm's sake, he's doing a job right now. Like, in terms of work rate, in terms of system, right? Put it this way. He's injured and he shouldn't be injured, and there's a disgusting tackle that was on him. Let's say Donny van de Beek was in this team right now. Let's just, who's more technically proficient than Wout Weghorst, right? Yes.
Yeah, but you don't know he's on the fucking pitch.
Oh, right, yeah, but hear me out what I'm about to say here, right? Donny van de Beek is a way better footballer than Wout Weghorst, right? As a technical footballer, brilliant player, right?
Agree.
We don't cover as much space in midfield if we Donny van de Beek in there right now. Bruno Fernandes would have to drift in from the right. Every team be battering us down the wing. Wan-Bissaka and Dalot will be getting overloaded like fuck in midfield if Donny van de Beek was playing in this team right now. Because let's be honest, if Donny van de Beek was fit, we don't sign Wout Weghorst. We probably don't. We play Rashford.
No.
If Donny van de Beek was fit, we wouldn't.
Well, I don't know, because I think Weghorst was initially signed to be a striker, and then he worked out that he wanted to play Rashford.
But even
the
at
middle
that,
and could drop him in as a 10 to be a body.
But even at that, would he? Because he's playing Sancho on the 10 right now as well. He's drifting Sancho as a 10. Like,
I think the Sancho thing was up in the air. Like, I think it just happened. Like, it could have turned around that Sancho wasn't ready for another 6 weeks because it was all like, obviously mental health, not like physical health. So I do think he was brought in as a striker because Martial's made a wheat of it.
I need to address this with Trevor. We're saying he's affecting the game. People like Gary Neville say he affects the game. He's a workhorse. And he does a lot for the team. At the end of the day, I understand. Like, look, people see football differently, and that's completely fine. And I completely respect.
People that watch Match of the Day are going to see goals and assists, and if he doesn't score goals and assists, he's rubbish. He's really good. Does a really good job for United. A really, really important job for United. Like,
defensively, he's doing a good job for United at the minute, and he's keeping balance in midfield. But like, right, let's put this straight. Trevor, do you support Erik ten Hag? Do you believe what Erik ten Hag is doing?
Got to trust it.
Yeah.
Trust it. He's deserved the chance, and he's been good. And you're right, he's not going to be, if he stays at United, which I think he probably will.
He'll be fourth choice striker next season if he stays at United.
Or third, fourth choice striker, it doesn't matter. Okay.
It's your opinion. It's your opinion. Look, I said this to you last week straight. I respect it. But I just, like, look, I'm not the only one saying it. Greg's not the only one saying it. There's other people who, like,
know football and played at a level that, like, rate him as a striker, and he's a good player, and the distance he covers is really important for this United side because Rashford and Sancho don't cover distance, And I don't know if Weghorst needs benched, who comes in for him? Like, who plays?
Maybe the midfield three, I said, but
yeah, maybe. Do you want to play that? Do you want to play that every week and then have your only backup midfielder be
exactly
McTominay? You've got one backup midfielder. You've got McTominay or Kobe Manu. Yeah, that's it. That's like all you've got. We'll move on for that quick. Then we'll go to score predictions quickly. Did you see? I didn't actually. He called Bruno the Portuguese guy in his press conference
earlier.
So
Xavi was in his press conference today, and he was talking about United's midfield and United's teams. Like Rashford's a brilliant player, and Casemiro. Let me grab the quote. He said Rashford's a brilliant player, Varane's a brilliant player, and then he said, and the Portuguese guy. It was something like that. Now, I don't know if this is underhanded tactics to try wind Bruno up tomorrow.
You might genuinely just forgot, but I mean, forgetting's pretty.
Getting one of the most creative midfielders in world football. It's definitely a little tactic. 1 second, I'm gonna get the full quote now because I feel like I'm doing it misjustice.
I didn't see that. That's mental.
Let me grab the quote.
Yeah, go for it.
Ten Hag is getting all the talent out of his players. You see Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford, the Portuguese guy, and look how Fred is playing.
He's 100%. He's trying to rattle him.
He's trying to rattle him.
He's trying to, because what you could easily get Bruno to do is to try too hard in a game, like go Bruno hero ball from like ball one. You just got to hope Ten Hag's good enough to keep him like centered, level-headed, stick to the plan, break them down.
Put this way, Greg. If he's doing that in the first half, Ten Hag will literally grab him by the scruff in his dressing room, like
smash him off the wall. Yeah,
he'd like no. He'd be like, no, cut the bullshit out. Yeah.
It could have been Dallo, but I doubt it.
That was definitely a dig of Bruno, because like who else does he talk about? Nani doesn't play for United anymore. Ronaldo definitely doesn't play for United anymore.
Dallo's been out for like 5-6 weeks. So.
And he's only getting back into the team. Xavi knew what he was doing. He's thinking, because you just know Bruno gets near Sergio Busquets tomorrow. Bruno's going to clip him legs. Busquets is going to hold his face. You just know it. Like.
Yeah.
You just know they're going to do everything in their power to try and wind Fernandes up tomorrow. But to be fair, I hope Bruno just doesn't take any notice of it. Plays an absolute whirly into Rashford. Rashford scores, and Bruno just goes over to fucking Xavi, whips his dick out, and just says, "What the fuck you saying?"
Right, let's wrap it up. Let's do score predictions. I believe Billy asked earlier on.
Yeah,
who's scoring first? What's the score going to be? I'm going to let you go first because I don't know. You could tell me it's going to be 5-5 tomorrow, and I would probably believe you. I am so nervous. I think I'm more nervous because we're going to be there. I can't just switch it off.
Yeah, I'm going to go. I'm going 3-1 United. I'm going to go 3-1 United. I'm only saying this because I think, like, look, big United Old Trafford. I think we're going to get them early, and I do think they're going to crumble. I do think the atmosphere is going to be too much for them tomorrow, and I think this team has come on leaps and bounds.
Yeah,
and we've beaten better teams at Old Trafford this season already. We've beaten Man City. We've beaten Liverpool. Liverpool probably aren't a better team than them right now.
Yeah,
and we've beaten Arsenal. We've beaten City. We played Spurs off the park at Old Trafford this season. We've gone away to Arsenal and played really good there. I do think we've played better defensive teams than Barcelona. Granted, right, look, they have match winners in their team. But I just think their midfield tomorrow could actually be their downfall tomorrow. Because I think Pedri and Gavi are so integral to how they play that they're going to have to kind of slightly change their principle tomorrow, and I think that'll actually end up being too much.
Yeah, that's fair. Billy says 1-1 Yeah, so we wouldn't go through with that because there's no away goals, is there?
There's no away goals, no.
No away goals, so that would go extra time. And I don't want penalty. I think I might be due Old Trafford a seat if I end up having to sit and watch penalties.
I just tell you this now, if we go to penalties tomorrow, just use 4 subs, take the hair off and throw Jack Butland in. I swear to God. I'm saying this.
I agree.
I'm saying this straight out now. If we go to penalties tomorrow, take
I
that
agree.
day off.
Yeah. Because you get another one in extra time, don't you? You get another if you use all 5, you get another one in extra time.
Yeah.
So it might be worth keeping. You can do all 5, and if it does go extra time, then you've got Jack. But I wouldn't have. I think I probably agree with Richard. I'm gonna be confident. I'm gonna say 2-1 to Man United. I don't know. I feel like Barca's gonna score first to sort of like deflate. I've just got a horrible feeling that they'll score first and score maybe quite early, and then it'll be like classic comeback Reds. But yeah, I'll go 2-1.
I'm going 3-1. Fuck it. I'm going 3-1. And you know what? First, I'm going to throw first goal scorer, and it's fucking it's obvious at this stage when my first goal scorer is going to be. It's going to be Rashford.
Yeah, it's Rashford. It is Rashford.
And all you hear is then like Manchester, Rashford is red, and there you fucking go.
The way he's playing, it's got to be Rashford. Like, yeah, I just think the way he's playing right now, if we can get the ball, and as long as we said earlier on, as long as he can win his individual battles, then and we can get him the ball, then we'll be successful. The away goals went away this season, is that right? Or was it last season?
Yeah,
last
season. This season they went away.
This season, yeah. So you don't do away goals. It basically stops teams going to go out there and not concede away from. Basically, yeah.
It basically stops Jose Mourinho, don't it?
Yeah, it stops teams being boring. So yeah, you don't get away goals. So if it is 1-1, it will go end up going to extra time. Which is a bit annoying when you draw in the new Camp 2-2 and you've got 2 away goals to rely on, but is what it is. This United team are good enough. They're good enough to do it. They are good enough to do it. And I think we all know that they're good enough to do it. Whether they do it is another thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's going to wrap everything up, I believe. We'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early, Keane.
Yeah.
For a long...
Have that Peroni waiting for
long day. It's in the fridge. But a long, long day tomorrow. And hopefully we're sat here come 10 o'clock tomorrow night. And we're not sat here. We're sat down in Manchester with a pint at 10 o'clock, 10:15, whatever time it is, tomorrow night. And United are through to the next round.
Billy, give me a text. Give me a text tomorrow. We'll tell you where we are if you want to meet in for a drink.
Good shout. Anything you want to say about anything you plug on the channel or anything like that before we go?
Yeah. So obviously match reaction tomorrow. Mark will be hosting that. I don't know who the guests are, but he's hosting match reaction tomorrow. Do check that out. And yeah, cup final preview will actually be Saturday night. Because unfortunately I didn't get tickets. So yeah, cup final will be Saturday night, and we're actually going to do something different. We're not going to do a panel show for the cup final preview. It's actually the 2-year anniversary of Greg's first day on the show today. So we're going to do something like that. We're going to do a call-in show on Saturday. So if you are a viewer, a listener, do get involved and message myself on Twitter. I will put the details out Saturday, but we're going to do a call-in show Saturday. If you're a Man United fan, if you're even a Newcastle fan, if you want to come on and talk about the game, please do call in show. And Billy, happy anniversary, Greg. Yeah. But yeah, look, we do a call in show Saturday, and we're gonna try get Shane on. We're gonna try to do it the same way where myself and Shane will co-host it.
Yeah.
And yeah, look, we go crack, and hopefully we can win. There's a match reaction Sunday as well. I'm going to tell you all straight now, I'm not going to be coherent enough to be on that stream Sunday.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm going to be drinking pints with Amy's father, which means I'm definitely not going to be coherent enough to be on the stream on Sunday. Yeah. So yeah, again, Mark hosting that, and he'll have a whole set of guests as well. Yeah. On that note,
wait till he bags tomorrow. Till he bags tomorrow, and he's the reason we beat Barcelona.
I tell you this now: if El Weghorst gets United's winner tomorrow, I will come on the show and get Greg on, and we'll play the Bobby Roode song "Glorious" if that's the case. But anyway, on that note, we will wrap up. Thanks very much, everyone, for tuning in this evening. Who will watch the replay? Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We're nearly on 720 subscribers. I would actually love if we can get to 750 by let's say Easter.
Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday, maybe. Yeah, Sunday. Yeah, if we like to get to Sunday. And so that's do subscribe. A lot of you who actually watch actually aren't subscribed. And so look, at the end of the day, if you want to get all your latest Man United news, transfer news, and also a bit of takeover insight as well will be coming soon as well. So look,
I will
as
not be on
always,
those.
we do
unless something happens.
Yeah, fact. But yeah, look, do share, subscribe, and look, we'll see you on Saturday. Myself for the call-in show. Until then, see you later.